We gather here today to bid a bittersweet farewell to a cinematic giant, the Shrek franchise. Beginning in a swamp in 2001, it turned fairy tales on their heads, proving that you don't need to be a dashing Prince Charming. You can be a mean, green, layered like an onion machine. Shrek was more than just a film series. It was, and forever will be, a meme.
Is what I would say if there wasn't gonna be a Shrek 5.
How's it going, day ones? Welcome to today's episode of Loose the Goose. It's so loose. Sometimes I wish that Hollywood would just let a good movie franchise like Shrek come to an end. But of course, it's just like them to want to milk this story dry for every last cent. All the while betting that millennials will spend money on their nostalgia. And look, I'm not an idiot. I've learned not to go messing with beloved childhood movies because we, and yes, I said we, millennials can be oh so touchy when it comes to critiquing these things. But even with that being said, I think we can all agree that the teaser trailer for Shrek 5 looks terrible. I mean, look at what they did to the characters. I understand that they're supposed to be older now, but dang, I guess fairy tale creatures don't do skincare routines? Because look at this side-by-side comparison of them. Tell me why they look like the laundry on my bed that I forgot to fold. And I'm not the only one that thinks this way because people online have also not been having it. And it's almost like they're treating Shrek 5 as ugly Sonic, which I think is kind of hilarious. At first I didn't really get it, but the more I looked at it, the more I was like, yeah, there's something sort of uncanny about the faces, like around the eyes and the nose, that kind of make it look like that dog that has a really human face. Like the more that you stare at it, you're just afraid that it'll suddenly speak English to you. And I really don't know how to feel about the self-aware humor of the trailer. On the one hand, it's awesome that they are admitting that Shrek is a huge meme, because it is. Like, Shrek is love, Shrek is life, Shrek is that awkward filter of him making out with you. But it does seem cringy that they would put this in the movie because it's not really the same satirical comedy as the other movies, and instead feels more like breaking the fourth wall. That being said, we do not need any more Shrek movies because there are just no more ideas that Hollywood could squeeze out of this franchise to make it interesting again. And to prove that, we're going to be looking at one of the last Shrek projects to be created on Peacock Kids YouTube called Swamp Talk with Shrek. Or wait, is it New Shrek? Yeah, for some reason it's just called New Shrek on this channel. Anyway, whatever you want to call it, here's a bit of the trailer, which is episode 17 out of 34. It's the entire episode. I guess they got through like half the show and then realized, oh no, we forgot to show the trailer. Well, better late than never.
You've seen Shrek save the princess, but have you seen him do this? Look at that.
Now, obviously, this show is made for kids, and I am not the target audience, because we're basically asked if we would rather see Shrek be a hero or make silly faces and dance. Obviously, I would rather see Shrek be a hero, instead of him looking like he signed a contract and cannot retire, and now he must do the dance. But as a kid, I could imagine that silly faces are where it's at. My brain would not be fully developed yet, so I'd be like, heck, why not? I would want to imagine that Shrek was my friend, and that mom and dad didn't understand us because we were ogres. So now that we have all been transported back to being kids and embraced the big green monster inside of ourselves, let's take a look at one of these episodes. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the episodes are only about a minute long, so the thing about the trailer being a full episode now makes sense. This show is 34 episodes of Shrek Talking, and this episode is called Who Stole My Waffles, and is one of the few that also features Donkey.
Someone stole my cinnamon waffles.
But it was Pinocchio.
He denied it.
The three blind mice.
They only eat cheese.
I ate the waffles. Every last bite of them.
Alright, I remember as a kid, the one thing that used to really bug me whenever they made spin-offs of animated movies or kid shows of any kind were when they changed the voice actors. Because to my sensitive little ears, I couldn't help but think stranger danger while watching them. Although I have to admit that the voice actors come pretty close. I mean, Shrek just sounds like he's recovering from a cold, and Donkey sounds really spot on, except there's just something a little bit off. Oh yes, it sounds like he's recovering from the flu. This is pretty much the first season in a nutshell, where Shrek is just repeating these bits from the movies because, after all, it's true to his character. But every now and then there is a banger thrown in there where it seems like it doesn't give a crap about the source material, and it's hilarious. Like, we all know Shrek to be the strong ogre that's not really afraid of anything, but in this episode, Shrek's worst nightmare, this is the opposite of what we see.
Can you hear me? thing I fear most, the cleanly godmother.
I gotta tell you, Shrek screaming in such a high-pitched voice will forever be one of the funniest sounds I have ever heard. And the fact that the audio is peaking and like getting all fuzzy is gold. Like, why didn't they give the voice actors proper recording equipment? I looked these guys up on IMDb. They are actually professional and working voice actors. Who was it that produced this and listened to it and was like, oh yep, that's exactly how the Shrek movie sounded? It really seems like after this episode, the show starts to completely do its own thing, and I'm wondering if it was written by AI. Wait, was there even AI back then in the 2010s? So just a few episodes later, we get Shrek talking about things that are crazy. Like, I'm not trying to be the anti-brain rot police or anything, but like, I don't know, officer, should we arrest him or just give him a firm warning? Like in this one episode where Shrek says he likes to show his booty to the camera, a move that I, as a kid, would have really wanted to imitate because it's funny, and I definitely would have gotten scolded for it. This episode is called Shrek Tricks the Parazzi, and I think you can guess why.
You know what I can't stand? Paparazzi. Just try to take a portrait. Oops. They're getting my business end.
Hey, at least I had the decency to blur the pictures here. I know that we assume that kids have wholesome minds, but anyone who's older knows that there's a lot more going on down there that we don't want to see. Like, why are we showing these images of Shrek's cheeks and bulge to young kids? Is this really something that a silly ogre would do? Can't there be a distinction between Shrek being an ogre and the viewers being kids, and how they shouldn't be doing these sort of disgusting things? But maybe I'm just asking for too much, because not all of the episodes are this inappropriate. But I think the peak of this show really scrambling for ideas has to be the other banger episode where Shrek raps. That's right, silly faces and dances are no longer enough. This ogre wants you to know that he is from the swampy streets. The brain rot police got nothing on him because apparently Shrek is gang affiliated.
Lay down a beat. Fee, fee, fi, fi, fo, fo, fa. Shrek ain't no average ogre, son. If you're looking for rhymes, put away that map. This ogre can rap.
Fee fee fi fi fo fo fun. Let my guy retire, son. Oddly enough, this show has the most views out of all of the episodes. Maybe this is the reason why Hollywood was like, see, people still like Shrek. Just get him to do random things like rap and we'll make a ton of money. So I guess what I'm saying is I blame Swamp Talk with Shrek, New Shrek, this show, for that very reason. If only it hadn't been so fire without any new ideas, maybe we would have seen Shrek finally come to an end. He would have had the happily ever after that he deserved. Again. Again. Personally, I think the only way that they're gonna make the Shrek franchise more interesting is if they focus on other characters in the universe besides these ones. Minus the daughter, of course. But wait, can we please talk about how Shrek had like 3 kids and we only see one of them in the trailer? I get that the big push is that she's voiced by Zendaya, who is definitely slaying it right now, but the only way that they're gonna really get me interested in Shrek's kids is if the 2 brothers are voiced by like Timothée Chalamet and, I don't know, one of the Stranger Things kids, I guess. I really don't know many young male actors. Anyway, I digress. We have already seen stories focus on these other characters in Shrek holiday specials that also feature the original voice actors and that I thought were pretty good. This one, which is in Scared Shrekless, which as you can imagine is a Halloween special, features Pinocchio and is basically a parody of The Exorcist, which is actually pretty brilliant because, as I understand it in real life, The Exorcist was filmed using an actual puppet.
In this house, a man had come.
I'm a cricket. You were the voice in my head.
Obviously, this is a lot longer than the new Shrek episodes we've been seeing, so let me just break it down for you. It starts off with Shrek arriving at Geppetto's door saying that he's here to be the babysitter. We then hear screams coming from upstairs that are undoubtedly Pinocchio. Turns out he's hearing voices in his head, and that's why he's acting psycho. He's gone completely berserko puppet mode, kicking, screaming, and being more supernatural than usual. More supernatural because he's already a talking puppet. He had to raise a stake somehow. Honestly, this story actually made me laugh several times. I guess I'm just a sucker for high-pitched screams because to me, Pinocchio's voice was priceless. It's both creepy enough to fit the situation and hilariously exaggerated. But this all worked from an entertainment standpoint because the funny bits were led by Pinocchio. He was so unhinged that you never knew what he was going to do next. And this is really unique to his personality. If you think about it, Pinocchio really doesn't have any lived experiences because the way he came to be is that Geppetto wished on a star and he just came alive as a puppet. So what I'm saying is that Pinocchio's personality is as spontaneous as his origin story. But my top 3 favorite moments from him were when he goes from kicking Shrek in the face to sleeping, when he goes from properly sitting and talking on the bed to spewing what I can only assume is a river of oil out of his mouth.
And what kind of things do they tell you to do?
But my absolute favorite is when Jiminy Cricket is talking to him and his response is to suddenly smush him.
I'm your conscience, and as long as you let me, I'll always be your...
And again, all of this is so interesting because it has to do with Pinocchio. All of his interactions remind us that he's a puppet in clever ways. Even the interaction with Jiminy Cricket, because crickets eat wood. Oh wait, am I thinking about a termite? Just a second. Let me Google, do crickets eat wood? Crickets are omnivores. They eat foods from plants to insects, even wood. Ha, I was right. But if you really think about it, if it was a termite inside his head eating his brains, that would actually be scary. So sorry, Jiminy, it had to be you. The story that I thought was best from Scared Shrekless was the one about Gingi. This one doesn't feature Shrek at all, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a parody of The Bride of Frankenstein. Again, I thought that this was brilliant because Gingi was created in that he was baked, much like we know that the scientists created Frankenstein or Frankenstein's bride. I mean, bakers are scientists in a way, right? Like, they use chemistry and thermodynamics.
Kicked me out. It's perfect.
No one has ever made cookies with this much sugar.
Oh my gosh, I'm in love. I can be pretty, really pretty. Let's go.
In case you missed it, the breakdown is that Gingi wants a wife, so he asks the Muffin Man to make him one, but he foolishly adds too much sugar and she ends up being a psycho that's obsessed with him and won't leave him alone. After accidentally wasting her when she falls into a mixing bowl, his wife multiplies into an army of zombie wives that attack his house. Oh man, I guess Gingi didn't learn from when he made his huge gingerbread buddy, which by the way, I always wondered how they baked the big boy. This story had moments that made me giggle, and it all had to do with, okay, you got me, the high-pitched voice. Like honestly, I don't have anything against people with squeaky voices. I just can't take them seriously. But clearly the funny bits were about Gingi and how he is small in size, but big in personality. Which again, this is something that's unique to his personality. I mean, he's the one who's always bragging about how fast he can run. So it's these moments where he looks tiny and cute, but kind of acts like a jerk that really brings it together. In fact, that's his main personality flaw that leads to his wife being a monster. Since I like doing this though, my top 3 favorite moments were when he's complaining about his girlfriend that kicked him out.
You know, something about me being too into myself. Blah, 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 yak, yak, yak.
When he tells the Muffin Man to go away after his services are no longer needed.
Okay, a little privacy. Huh? Take a hike.
And the best is when he brushes off the fact that he might have just murked his new wife.
I'm glad that is over with. Oh well, nothing lasts forever.
I also like the added detail that Gingi's house in the end is a gingerbread house, which is probably the only dessert that's more fun to play with than it is to actually eat. Because like, when was the last time you had a gingerbread cookie? I always come around to the holiday seasons and have like one of these guys and then feel like I'm good for the rest of the year. And like adding gumdrops to them, you know, like Gingi's famous gumdrop buttons, really doesn't make it better. I mean, these might as well be raisins. At least those are fruit and have some sort of nutritional value. So as you can see, the creative details of the story have had a major emotional impact on me, maybe even on my mental health. Of course, when it comes to Shrek spin-offs about other characters, we have to mention the banger of all bangers. The bangerest of all bangers to ever be. Okay, I gotta stop saying the word banger. It's Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. When I say that this movie surpassed my expectations, I mean that from my head down to my little toes. I'm guessing that most people have seen it by now, but really it was just everything from the style to the humor to the heartfelt character arcs that made this movie so good. Although they did kind of do dogs dirty with the Perrito character that always wants his belly rubbed, but it's like really disgusting looking.
I am Puss in Boots. Legend will never die. I have 9 lives.
And how many times have you died already? Well, you don't look like a cat.
Want to rub my belly?
The main thing I want to say about this movie is that I don't think it should get a sequel. When they ended on a teaser that there might be more Shrek movies, I wish that it just could have been a false sense of hope. Because maybe if there was no Shrek 5, I could just imagine all of the characters living their lives without finding themselves in a life-threatening situation ever again. Now, I'll be honest, I'll probably go see Shrek 5 and I'll probably be disappointed because you can't just keep reigniting that magical spark over and over so many times. Eventually, it becomes meaningless. Wasn't Shrek 4 supposed to be like his happily ever after times 2? How many more are we going to have before you let my man go free? Let's all just imagine a world where the Shrek cinematic universe ended on this tear-jerking, ear-horn-blowing scene.
How about giving my babies an encore?
I always thought that I rescued you from the Dragon's Keep. It was you that rescued me.
That's right, big guy. It was you who rescued her, who really rescued you from the dragon that is now married to your best friend. Well, that's all I've got for y'all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave in the comments, are you ready to see Shrek 5? Thanks and bye!